Today we're joined by Gonzalo Peon, Executive Director of ITDP Mexico. Gonzalo has 15 years of experience. His work's been relevant to bring forward the climate change general law of Mexico, Mexico Street Design Manual, Mexico City Parking Reform, Vision Zero for Youth, among other policy and infrastructure innovations. Gonzalo holds a master's degree in city design and social sciences from LSC. I didn't know that. LSC. That's awesome, Gonzalo. I'm actually going to join their course later on this year, so I look forward to that.
That's perfect.
Yeah, that's really cool. And today topic will be walk and roll and also traffic conflict analysis. Reminder again, just of the rough format of the COP session, introduction and housekeeping, which I'm doing now, and then presentation by Gonzalo, followed by in the second half of the hour of open floor question and answers and dialogue. And as usual, please feel free to write your questions on the chat or just raise your hands up, and I'll help Gonzalo with just navigating the traffic. And with that, I give the floor to you, Gonzalo. Thank you very much.
Thank, Thanks, Sunny, and thanks everyone for joining in different parts of the world. Can you see my presentation?
Yep.
Great. Let me just put this. So I'm going to speak today about walk and roll to school, which is mostly, but also a bit about traffic conflict analysis. But for us, walk and roll to school day, it's not just a celebration or an activity that aims to celebrate walking, but also promoting road safety. We think that it is something very, very important in Mexico, and I think most developing nations. And probably the numbers in the developing nations of your countries are similar to ours, where more than 90% of children go to school, which is fantastic. It's a way to improve our ways of living for the future. Children are our hope. And probably in many of your countries, as in Mexico, more than 50% of the trips are made on foot. And some of them are made on public transports. In our case, it's around a quarter. Around 20% are made on private vehicles, including cars, motorcycles, and vans. Just a few of, of the children arrive on school transportation. I think the great difference to that in Latin America, it's Brazil, where they have, I think, the largest school transportation system. I don't know if the world or anything or something like that. I just started researching that. That's very, very interesting. And almost 2% of children cycle to school. But also the other very, very common statistics that we have is that traffic-related deaths are the second most common cause of death in children and teenagers. In 2019, 322 children and teenagers that walk to school died on traffic and traffic-related accidents. So I think it's a very, very important issue. But this annual event that's Walk and Roll to School, this celebration that started I think, in the United States 30 or 40 years ago, where children and communities come together walking and cycling, it's something or can be something that's integral to road safety policy. We now speak more about safe systems. Some years ago, we used almost the same framework, but different name, which is Vision Zero, no, with the three pillars, no, which being engineering, it's proxy for infrastructure, enforcement, of course, law enforcement, and education. So like with these three pillars to build road safety, the preemptive road safety policy. And for us, walk a roll to school has been the pillar of education in this set of policy. You know, so if we think about this Venn diagram, for us the E education, it's in Vision Zero for Youth, which is the uh, focusing Vision Zero in school zones, is mostly walk a roll to school, and this is because we can put together mayors, as you were, mayors and decision-making people walking to schools, seeing for with their eyes and experiencing what children feel, what children live every day in their trips to schools, and support support different interventions around school areas. No, and I think in Mexico, but also in most of other countries in the world, schools are the better distributed social infrastructure in our cities and probably also in the countryside. And so while intervening school areas, not just school by school, but thinking it bigger. And that's why it's key walk and roll to school, because you have this authority participation. You can really change the city. And apply the different pillars of a safety system or Vision Zero around a school area. Now, if we really think on that, so we can with Vision Zero for Youth, we can really put a magnifying glass of with the vision of road safety, but in these school areas. So with walk and rolls to school, it's also, I think, a very good way to enter. You know, I think nowadays it's much more in Mexico. It's much more common to speak about road safety, to speak about pedestrian and cycling infrastructure. I don't know where your countries are, but now we have a national road safe mobility and road safety law. But uh, to enter the discussion with new politicians, with new communities, it's very difficult to start that conversation and to maintain it. So I think walk and roll to school have opened the doors for us in many places. People that were not thinking about road safety, communities that were not advocating for the road safety of their children, start doing that. And with the support of the FIA Foundation, we've been doing it in many places of Mexico, Costa Rica, and even places far away as Brazil, because it looks interesting, it looks cool to participate in walk and roll to school. This is a map of Mexico, of places where we have intervened with walk and roll to school. And as you see, well, it's very well distributed among the country, and also it has allowed us to have an impact uh, in places where we don't have the energy or the capacity to be there a lot. No, it's also something quite simple that can attract communities that can do this by themselves, and start working on that, and maybe start doing some interventions or promoting some interventions around that. So I think that that's also one of the other beauties of walk and roll to school. Its simplicity, potential for replication, and for attracting different stakeholders and different communities.
Gonzalo,
Uh,
before you progress, just taking a step back a little bit to what you mentioned, for those that are not familiar with it, can you just touch on a little bit about that mobility law for Mexico? Because I think that's very interesting.
of course. So I will put the map back. So Mexico, it's a federal country. similar to the United States, where we have states and municipalities, but with a very tight structure in what different levels of government can do. So national law, or we call it general laws in Mexico, basically distribute um, competencies and attributions of different for actors or for different levels of government. So we had some mobility and road safety laws in a few states. Mainly the first of it was Mexico City back in 2014. And actually, I have to say that Mexico City introduced something that some lawyers were quite skeptic at the beginning, and I don't know if some of them are. It's the right to mobility
Right.
in a safe and sustainable way. So it's like your right to access things. And when we tried to do that at the national level, it was not possible because it was unconstitutional. Because uh, as many constitutions in the world, we have first our Bill of Rights and then the laws. No, so there was no right regarding to mobility. So that was an
Right.
addition. So to do this law, first we needed to reform the constitution to introduce this right that was firstly introduced in Mexico City's constitution, and then uh, with that also change the constitution in the attributions of national legislators, because mobility for cities and states was a state and municipal issue.
Yeah.
So the legislators were not allowed to do that. So we also need to change that article of the constitution, allowing the federal legislators to legislate in mobility and road safety. And then with that, the general law was passed in 2022. And now we are seeing an alignment. Now we have out of 32 states, 21 have updated or created mobility state laws that have to include road safety considerations. And the road safety general law also mandates speed limits, which is, I think, one of the most important things. I think this law, to be translated to reality, needs to change also traffic regulations, which is
Right.
what policemen enforce. And on that, we are far behind. We have like three out of several, because there are some that are state level and some at the municipal level.
Mhm.
Uh, but with that, now we can go to cities and they say, "Oh, this is your obligation."
Right.
It's not just like you need to do this because you need to save lives.
Yeah.
So I think that way makes our work promoting these things easier.
It
Sorry
actually
for
provides a good legal basis as this work for mobility, safer mobility to be a part of the human right. I mean, I think that's amazing. Thank you for that. I think that's interesting
yes.
for the others to know.
Great. Well, thanks, and I can speak that a little bit more about that,
Sure.
but. Uh, I'm not sure. Probably we speak in some of these workshops when we speak with faculty and caregivers and even children. We now updated our our contents and mentioned the actually the law. I think if for children in secondary schools and from some faculty members, it's very interesting. So I think it's a good introduction to this part. So it's not just the day. No, it's preparing the day, yeah, getting the information. No, because uh, we or many people, even people that don't have cars, have like this car head. No, that things that allow you to drive at high speeds everywhere, and doesn't understand how that create or promote risk, and doesn't understand about a safe system or a preemptive road safety. So I think it's very important to have all these workshops and preparations, uh, people knowing what to do, understanding uh, what is important, how can they make a change, how safe infrastructure around schools really look like, uh, where are the risks, no, like train the eye of children and train the eye of faculty, train the eye of parents, uh, because otherwise, I think it's something that's very simple for us working on street design, but not everybody has this vision. That's why I think we came with this with I don't know if you have seen the well these people that the ideas that children present in their schools. But let me just go to a picture of the magnifying glass. Sorry, I think I got one. Or yeah, no, sorry to jump this. It's probably so you see this magnifying glass of
Yeah.
paper. So it's part of the activities. So children show what they like after these trainings. Now that they have some understanding of road risk, they use the magnifying glass to identify road risks. I have two colors, no, the things that they like, which are safe, and the things that they don't like, and related to road safety, but also other stuff. And that also can integrate an interesting report. I think, and that has shown that it's not difficult to understand in this action. So with this in mind, we have worked with 12 different Mexican states, 26 cities in Mexico, one city in Brazil, and in many cities, more than 100 schools in Costa Rica. So 57 schools in Mexico, 124 schools in Costa Rica, more than 5,000 people have participated. We have given around 80 workshops. We have all these different activities that we have in a guide that we can share and public different guidelines and steps to do this. I think also something that's quite interesting is that it has been institutionalized in Costa Rica, where the Road Safety Agency has a very close relationship with the Education Ministry. So that's why there are more schools in Costa Rica than in Mexico. Also, being a central country, you can do that at that level. No? Education in Mexico is a little bit more complicated in terms of bureaucracy. So that's how it has grown, and I think also something that's very important is the actions that you take around and after walk and roll to schools, because many of them implement permanent infrastructure interventions after you do this. So these are opportunities to start changing the the way you approach infrastructure, and you start seeing changes on the street. I think at the beginning we focused mostly on schools that were close to main roads and sometimes were we had some deaths or injuries of children or faculty around those schools. I think that's something important, but it's more open now. With Walk and Roll to School, I think also the idea is to reach to as many children as you can. And here are some examples. No, and I think I want to stop in this example because this is very related to traffic conflict analysis. I have other presentations to explain how it works, but basically, traffic conflict analysis allow you to uh, measure road risk, not and impacts in road risk in the before and after interventions without counting deaths and injuries, but counting and analyzing the severity of near misses, which are situations or events where when if there is not a change in direction or speed, a collision would happen. And we focus only on severe or grave severe conflicts. And with that, you can do this assessment and have an impact assessment of your intervention at intervention level. Otherwise, if you count or you only do impact assessment counting deaths and injuries, you cannot do it, or it's very do it seriously at an intervention level because the numbers are not enough. Not even at a corridor level. No, I've
Right.
seen many assessments that I don't know, like cannot be sustained. No, and with this you can really do that. And this intervention in Bine is the largest school in Mexico. It's in the city of Puebla. It has around 10,000 students. They had some deaths there before, and the school it's the other way around, and people were doing, and this is probably the most important avenue in the central area of Puebla, where really high speeds were happening. But also, even you have like this really big school, people really opposed this type of intervention because they were saying it was going to create congestion. And it also another thing, it's a public school, but it's in a wealthy neighborhood, and so probably not all the children that go there live around there. People from that part of the city also have uh, prioritized their car trips. So we needed to support the intervention very well technically. So we did before and after with traffic conflict analysis, and we saw reductions in road risk, so in severe conflicts of more than 70%. I think after the intervention, there has and in many years, no collision has happened involving pedestrian, children, etc. And I think what's also very interesting about this change is after the mayor and the party that supported this intervention lost the election a year afterwards, and the mayor that entered afterwards uh, start scrapping or taking away some of the areas that were gained for people to walk, and some road safety interventions and some cycling ways. And this one was not touched because there was this argument based on numbers of the road risk reduction, and also I think the faculty and people from that supported that. So I think that's how traffic conflict analysis, which is not that difficult to make, but also not that easy. I think we really need to choose when we use traffic conflict analysis for these type of interventions that they are going to have like great impact because there you have lots of collisions, lots of road risk, lots of vulnerable users, but you don't have enough support. So first you prove that there's a huge uh, road risk with numbers, and then you do your intervention, and then you prove that your intervention is really reducing the numbers, because sometimes people don't understand that those road risk reductions. And I think the government of Puebla now it's working on uh, a much more robust intervention following the same designs. You know, that one was implemented with not a big budget, uh, but it worked well, and now being improved. And I want to make this uh, show this case about Monterrey. Monterrey is the car capital of Mexico. It's a 5 million inhabitant city. Its primary road network it's larger than Mexico cities. So it's imagine like a Texas road infrastructure with lower budgets implementation. No? So it's 20% of all road crashes happen in Monterrey in the country.
Wow.
So and it was very difficult to enter because all of these flyovers, mainly. So when the mayor was entering office, we invited him to do walk and roll to school and to take action far, not just at that school. Also work with his team on that, and uh, so after walking with the children and everything, he announced was during COVID times. That's why he's using this mask. Or, he announced that he was going to intervene the 50 more dangerous intersections. I think most of them has been built now. So I think that that's a way to have this impact that's larger than just the school area, and sometimes you don't get the mayor to walk with children, particularly in big cities. That's not an easy thing. uh, but when you do that and you take time to convince him, you provide the right atmosphere at the event, you can do something that is not just for the photo of the day or for the celebration of the day, but to do something that can really inspire or enact action. That's more important. And there are some examples of interventions that have been done after this announcement. Uh, this is another part of Monterrey metropolitan area where we work with a local NGO that's called Pueblo Bicicletero. So in Monterrey, we start also working with local communities and NGOs. I think that that's something very important, no, to participate with people that are in that side. And this is Apodaca, which is another municipality in the same metropolitan area. And I think that also that some place that has been really interesting is in Yucatan, in the south of Mexico, because they have evolved. They have donated. The authorities have donated bicycles to those to some schools. And Zapopan, I have to give these guys an awards because the mayor based all his interventions and everything as the city for children, not just in road safety, but for everything. So we were able to relate that to Walk and Roll to School and to interventions, and so he started putting all this nice infrastructure for bikes in many parts of the cities. And I have to say, with the traffic conflict analysis, Zapopan, it's the largest municipality in the city of Guadalajara, where the metropolitan area has also 5 million inhabitants, and has like a very strong capacity in terms of mobility. So they are the ones that have adopted more TCA and actually help us in providing some assistance when we were doing an automated tool for TCA, that using computational vision. That's an example that if we have time or it comes out of some of the questions, I will bring out some slides in Spanish, but I can explain how this is working. And I think also it's interesting, for instance, this in Mazatlan. No, I think when we start or we made this presentation of walk to school and people want to approach, or when there's authorities, we tell them, okay, how can you link it to your wider policy? And in the case of the Mazatlan Planning Institute, which is a nice city by the Pacific in north of Mexico, in Sinaloa, in the state of Sinaloa, I think they thought, okay, we are going to use that to relate it to our neighborhood improvement program. So for them, it was easier. So with this type of intervention, it was easier for them to understand because they were already planning to doing some tactical urbanism interventions and how the community will understand that and will appropriate that. So it was also interesting how to link to these other policies, And uh, well, for us in Monterrey, as I mentioned, is the car capital of the world. Once this guy on the left, that's the mayor of San Pedro Garza Garcia, which is the richest municipality in Monterrey, where there were no sidewalks. No, and basically he started doing sidewalks with Walk and Roll to School. Since there are many posh schools participated, and when they were walking with the authorities, they were passed in front of uh, people with disabilities training, like Paralympics training course, and say, okay, please put ramps around schools, but start with them because they saw people carrying wheelchairs and trying to get up, like they're taking like 10 minutes to enter this Paralympics training course. And that was done after that. So I think that shows that beauty. And in Nuevo León, so since they have 20% of the crashes in that state and in that really big area, which is Monterrey, we thought that we could enter with public policy and promote that. So that's in 2021. That's the governor committing to road safety principles, and we tried to do a metropolitan policy, road safety policy. I have to say that we haven't succeeded with that, but we out of 14 municipalities, we got like 6 of them like really starting to speak about road safety in a more serious way and actually having sidewalks. No, it was crazy to have a 5 million city with no sidewalks. So I have like I think that Walk and Roll to School was some sort of Ambition Zero for Youth was some sort of Trojan horse that allowed to introduce this idea that was so foreign to them and so not popular. I but we haven't succeeded in having all the mayors agreed on this policy. Uh, I think. Well, we have this guy that I don't know if you can. I don't think you can put the link, but I will paste it. So we have this guy for Walk and Roll to School. Also, the national ministry presented something similar. But yeah, I think because of the time, it's better to leave it for questions and answers.
And Morag has kindly put the link there. Thank you so much, Morag. No, that's really amazing, Gonzalo. Thank you so much for that. And I think clearly there's been quite a lot of work already been done there in Mexico. How do you see this? You mentioned about it be walk and roll, being a Trojan horse for something that's bigger. And then you've given some examples how some of those programs and policies like in Mazatlan were able to sort of incorporate it into their neighborhood improvement program. Do you see other ways that this can be scaled up even on a national scale or other states to pick it up more quickly?
Yes, so I think with Sedatu we did a kite to organize Walk and Roll to School and presented in some ways, but I think Sedatu, which is the National Ministry of
Uh-huh.
Cities in Mexico, I think didn't have at that time the capacity to promote it very well. I think the guide is out there and they have participated and promoted a little bit to be something larger. I think the part in Costa Rica, I think it really so with this like central government, centralized state has helped, and also like this international thing. No, I think for people in different cities in Mexico, it's nice to be part of something that's wider. So I do believe that Walk and Roll to School provide a very interesting way of expanding or reaching out in a wider way. Uh, People from the National Center for Safe Route to School in the U.S. that started promoting this massively in the U.S. Have this website and resources that are great that you can join. I think with Nancy Pullen and all those guys can see that as something larger. But also, I don't know if a mayor or a minister is interested in road safety, but is afraid uh, of implementing law enforcement or speed cameras or safe infrastructure. I think at that moment, Vision Zero for Youth is particularly important because they commit. No, I think like this mayor in Monterrey was afraid,
Yeah.
but having all these children around him and saying, "Okay, you're great," it was really encourage them to do these interventions to announce something that they are not sure. So
If I can
so
answer a
I
question.
Yep.
Sorry, go ahead. Who's that?
No, apologies for that. I was going to ask a question, but ignore me. It was the wrong time.
No, that's fine. Gonzalo, anything else further on that?
no, I think that's fine.
That's good. James, go ahead, please. And then we have a question from Min. James? No?
No, no, don't worry. It was answered. It was as it was going. It was things clicked into my head.
Ah,
So apologies.
no, all good. Then there's a question from Min on the chat, and I'll just read it out. Regarding the TCA, how long after interventions was the data on traffic conflicts collected? And did you also collect other types of data to assess the success of the projects? And that's a good one. I was going to ask that too. Was there any other maybe qualitative data or focal groups or anything like that from the community that you gathered?
So I think it depends on the intervention, but normally you need to do it the before and after in similar conditions. Uh, I think with schools the timeline it's a little bit different, no? So when we promote other assessment, no, we have in the ITDP something that's called the DRT standard, and we think about 6 months after it's operational. I think with traffic conflict analysis, it can be 3 months or 6 months, but the important thing is you have similar conditions on the days that you do the assessment of road risks. So same, I think the time
Mhm.
is key. So that's at the moment that people enter school or leave school. I think both moments are where like half an hour before, half an hour after. Those are like key key moments. Also on the difference of traffic conflict analysis in schools and not schools. I think it's important to count if they are children or not children. I think that that's something that's quite important. You want to make the case for of road safety for children. And yeah, so we collect different data regarding the interests and support of faculty and communities, but not necessarily around. And sorry, I want another thing. It's also important that same weather conditions, no, in
Right.
terms of of light, rain, etc. So 3 months, around 3 months, it's okay, but after interventions, but you need to. It's more important to have these similar conditions, and I think TCA is much more uh, related to this, to counting conflicts and the severity and classifying these conflicts according to their severity, and that the severity is based on speed and proximity to the collision. So for that, is to have those kind of numbers and can give you some information and a different areas of the intersection with different movements, depending where. We have these complicated intersections. You have like different movements of different types of road users. And I think it's also important traffic conflict analysis that you see. That's something that's much more qualitative. When you work and show conflict analysis, it's a next step in training the eye for the engineers, architects that works on street design. When you do street design, you draw these lines about the different movements that you see. But when you do the conflict analysis, you are able to identify with much more uh, with a well, I would say with an improved capacity the potential of a road risk, and also to imagine cost-effective interventions.
You mentioned about the figure about the 78% of near misses reduced. Do you have any other documentation that could put this into a case study or anything like that, Gonzalo, that you can share with the community?
Yes, I will share some
That'd
of
be
the
good.
case studies, and some of them were, I think, also one was published by the NDC, the National the CDC, the Center for Disease Control of the United
CDC.
States. I think
Right.
CDC they actually they showed us the traffic conflict analysis many years ago, thanks to Natalie from the Fire Foundation.
No, that'll be good for us, for a few of us here to have a
Uh,
read.
and in and in Costa Rica, we worked on also some interventions and make some capacity building sessions with civil servants and consultants or fieldwork consultants.
Right.
Yep. And we have this part that we are working on automatizing road safety traffic conflict analysis, which is interesting working on this uh, online tool uh, because it's not that we thought it was easier to do. Then we realized that not everybody is ready for
Yeah.
for, for TCA.
Because I think maybe just take us a little through about this about the process of how you actually measure this. You actually have people counting and having a sample size of when the of the different times pre and post, right? I think what you're getting at is something that Amen has actually begun doing with their drone footage for Safe School Africa, for example, just getting a Good Vision, which is a program that they use to count sort of speed and the mobility of various road users, whether it's pedestrians or motorcycles or cars. But the AI tool can actually measure the difference in speed and the mobility of those. Um, yeah, and I was wondering whether that is actually being trialed or being looked at for TCA.
Yes, so this is an internal presentation where
Hmm.
we were analyzing how our AI tool worked. Uh, just so we are interested in not any conflict. No? So these are collisions, no? Some of them with deaths. So, but we are interested in this second tier of counting. So I think that that's something very, very important because otherwise you can have like all of these numbers of situations that are not that risky. Uh, so, so this is actually this is an example in Bine. So you will see how things happen.
That's so cool.
So if you can get, we are seeing the risk.
That's a near miss. That's one.
Look at that. So
That's
that's
a two. Okay. So that's car to car and car with pedestrians, and you can label it accordingly as well, right?
yeah. So let me. I don't know. What are you seeing? Because
I'm seeing your mouse going up and down, but now I'm not seeing anything.
okay. So sorry. I I messed up.
That's all right. But you will have an AI tool sort of measuring that and then differentiating it as well of different type of potential near misses.
Yes. So let me
Cool.
continue with the presentation. But yeah, it's that and. So we have this uh, also having the speed, training the speed. So with this, and this is the before after that I show you the same
Yep.
example. These are some of the things that we're trying to automate now because we have
Ah,
all
there it
these
is.
forms, we have all these guides that
Yeah.
have show you and these things that helps you really do these, no, and related to a map. Uh, and this is like the serious conflict, what I was telling you, and the no serious conflict, nor severe conflict that you don't count.
Right.
Uh, this is sorry, 69 reduction. I told you 79, but
All good.
I uh, So we have worked in all these different cities with traffic conflicts. We have this observation manual, and we are trying to automate this with a university that's called Tecnológico de Monterrey. The idea is to using cameras, get information, then processing it to a web app, and getting the result in a database that's available in the cloud. We've been doing like different analysis of this thing that's computational vision. No, this is how it works, and probably not the latest one that we have. I think Aggie and Natalie have seen the more recent ones. I have to say it hasn't been that easy to program this web app. And our idea is that someday in the future people would upload in the cloud their videos and have the web app presenting their results.
Like an
But
open
also,
source sort of thing, for
yeah,
the algorithm to be utilized. Oh, that would be pretty cool.
yeah, and also be used and have all we have to train the cameras, no, because
Yeah.
AI is based on training. We use like some of the videos that we have for that, and then actually the municipality of Zapopan help us to install the cameras around that, and something that will be very good for cities, big cities like Guadalajara, or like in middle income countries in Mexico that have lots of cameras. It's like one day to be able to use footage taken by normal cameras in cities, no, that are for other safety issues, no,
Yeah, that's great.
or in traffic light. But right now, I think it's very. You need to have like a very good angle. So right now, you need to set up your own camera or just a drone or something like that.
Shows you how much I know about what's going on in this place, but I didn't know that was part of what we're doing next with ITDP. With that's awesome. Is that still in early stages?
Uh, well, I can show you the beta and the process. Probably it would be good to show it to you
Right.
because yeah,
Okay. No, we can do that with Natalie and
it's
Aggie.
we have a beta, but I do believe that's not
Right.
like for this group. Probably we wouldn't be ready to take your
Sure.
video, but
Sure.
or maybe I don't know. You can send it to us and we can check that.
No, but with any training tool, no, you have to coach it and train it quite a bit and put more input data. So no,
Yeah.
that's great to know that's going on. Any other questions from the floor? We still have about 8 minutes left, but that was a good question from you, Min, which spurred us a little bit of discussion. Eduardo, please.
Yeah, no, this is a great presentation. Thank you so much for sharing. And I was very inspired to see so many projects in Mexico. I was wondering if there's like we all often when we work with cities in Latin America, we like to show more examples of the region. So, they can see that this is possible. It's not only in other regions. So just wondering if there's like more places where we can access these projects so that we can show more photos and show like the data that you shared. Yeah.
Sure. No, I think we publish most of the things that we do in reports, presentation, etc. So I think I can send to Sunny a collection of links. Since there are so many, I will not try to do it right now, but I can send this to Sunny this like yeah.
Sure.
Awesome. Yeah, we've been working with, or now not so much, but we were working with Leon in Mexico. We did a few projects there, and it's great to see that this is something that's growing so much in the whole country. And yeah, I want to now maybe make the connections between like Leon and the other cities that you mentioned. So maybe that's something that we can do in the future.
Sure. And Leon has now something very interesting. It's protocol. I think the focus on no repetition. So whenever there's like a severe um, uh, crash that involves has deaths and involves public transportation, they have this protocol of no repetition, and they really implement heavy solutions. That's yeah, probably
So
we
that
want to
the
promote.
crash won't happen again, or you learn from that mistake.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, that makes sense. No,
Nice.
and I really love what you touched on there, Eduardo. And I think, part of the reason why we have COP and the CHI informal collaboration group is to compound each other's work. So it's good to know that, if a GDCI is working in Lyon and so is ITDP and or in other parts of Latin America or indeed in Africa or Asia, that we can sort of align a little bit and compound a little bit of our capacity and resources and different tools as well to overlay that. So I'd love to see TCA, for example, been taken up a little bit more by our partners in Africa and Asia. I know AIPF has been utilizing a little bit of that as well as part of the methodology. But yeah, certainly would love to understand a bit more and promote it to the other partners here.
I have
Yeah,
to say,
maybe it could be a sorry, go, Gonzalo.
no, I love the TDCI intervention. No, they look so great and are so, yeah, so
So
bright
pretty.
and interesting, so pretty. And I think that combined with walk and roll to school will make could make something that's really interesting and appealing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
I actually like thought like the idea of like inviting the mayor, I think was something like I'd definitely like to share with the cities of building more support, having them actually come to these walks. And I was thinking maybe in addition to that could be bringing the reverse periscope that we have and where the adults actually use this tool. I actually have it right here. And then they see the height of of the height of a kid, and I think that's always quite interesting conversation starter for the adults that maybe don't understand what are those challenges of a kid walking on a street. So maybe that's something that you guys could also try one day in one of these walks, which I think would be quite cool. But yeah, happy to talk about other potential collaborations in the future.
No, that's great. And there's others here as well from IRAP. I'm sure the likes of Monica, Min, and James would love to see that complemented with, stuttering for schools and then maybe cycle rap, right? And I don't think we have a, like a project somewhere where we sort of overlay a lot of our partners' work into one place. And that's something that I think would be great to do. And Kai is also here from a men, maybe then apply the SARSI methodology on it. And I think that's something that'll be amazing to trial out, maybe in Latin America. All right. With that, if I think we might have time for one more quick question, if anything comes from the floor. Going once, going twice, 3 minutes left. If not, Gonzalo, anything else for last words?
Well, no, just thanks. I think all this work has been promoted by the foundation. Actually, you introduced us to Walk and Roll to School Day, which is done in October. We want to change it to May. Uh, maybe in Mexico it's would be better for us to plan with schools, but it would be great to sometimes when we are planning our next like global celebration to do something with initiatives.
Sounds
I
good.
think
Hey, we look to you for as the expert, mate. And if you think that's better, we can we can do it then. Yeah, reminder from Joanne there. Gonzalo, it'd be great if you can share the links of a compendium of different resources, toolkits, and maybe case studies. That'd be great. You can send it to me. I can disseminate it out to all of our partners, or I can just also share it on the LinkedIn group. So with that, Gonzalo, thank you so much for your time and your lending your expertise on TCA and walk and roll and the work of ITDP Mexico. And I wish everyone a good afternoon. Thank you so much for the session.